All right, here we go. China Mac, welcome back to VladTV.
VladTV, what's going on, bro?
Hey, it's your first time actually filming in our LA studio.
Yeah.
See the drum set back there?
Yeah, episode 192,000, China Mac and VladTV. The saga continues, but this time with the drum set behind me.
There we go. Because you're usually in New York,
right?
Which is where you live,
right?
So that's why you usually see the white background before.
Right.
Now you're in LA.
Now we spicing it up.
There we go. Now you're actually out here for a rally, for the They Can't Burn Us All rally.
Right.
Tell me about that.
So the rally came about because I saw this video of an 89-year-old Chinese grandmother who was attacked and then poured kerosene on and set on fire. So once I saw that video and she was walking by herself and two men with masks like wrapped up attacked her. And when I saw that, I was just like, and this happened in Bensonhurst, where a week prior, I saw signs up in the neighborhood where it says, "No Chinese wanted. Chinese are not wanted here. They are destroying our community. They are bringing COVID into the community. They're dirty. They're nasty. They need to be out of here." This is what the signs being posted in Bensonhurst and Bay Ridge area. Yeah. And then probably like 2 weeks after I saw that sign, the old woman got attacked. And I was like, yo, enough is enough, because I keep on seeing consistently videos of, Asians being attacked, and, nobody is really saying anything, right? Nobody is really speaking up for the Asian people. We're basically just letting it, get swept under the rug, and we're not speaking up. And we're not like, we're just basically targeting ourselves to be bullied and stuff by not responding, by not speaking up. So I just felt like, you know what, enough is enough, and let's make some noise. Let's make some noise in the community, right? Let's make some noise in the community and let them know that, hey, that 89-year-old grandma is not alone, and we'll come out here, and we'll just keep on coming out here and make you guys feel uncomfortable until there's some type of equality in the community. And that's what the rally was about. It started with that. But once we did that first rally, we got so much love. And my brother Bobby, he called me, and he's not even Asian. He's black, right? And he called me, and he's like, yo, you can't stop. You got to keep on going, because the people needs this message. This is a message that your people have never heard before. Nobody ever gave them this, hey, stand up for yourself, fight back message. And you need to give this message. The people needs this right now. So when he said that, immediately I said, yo, we're going to LA, right? Because we got so many people were hitting me up like, yo, you got to come to LA. You got to bring it to LA. So we were like, all right, let's bring it to the West Coast. And exactly a month later, we brought it to LA.
Well, I looked at the story. The woman had the back of her shirt burned, right? So she didn't burst into flames. Luckily,
yeah,
thank God.
Yeah, but it wasn't what happened. It was what they set out to do, and what could have happened. The lady was just thank God. The lady was she was able to think fast and move correctly in that situation. But what if it was an 89-year-old grandma that really couldn't move like that? That really, you know what I'm saying? And she would have been set on fire, So I don't look at what happened like in terms of she got set on fire or not.
Yeah.
What happened was they attempted to do that, and it could have been like that. And what are we going to wait for somebody to die for us to make a stance?
Yeah, there's actually a $10,000 reward for the scumbags that were involved.
It's now like 30,000.
30,000,
yeah.
And if y'all want to call me a snitch, go ahead. But go ahead and collect that reward if you know who did this shit.
Right.
Because nobody advocates for this type of behavior. An old woman trying to be set on fire.
Right.
Well, what's interesting is when you mentioned Bensonhurst, that was actually where Yusef Hawkins got killed.
Thanks. Rest in peace, Yusef.
Did you watch that documentary?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Right. So in that documentary, you basically had a mob of racist Italian kids.
Right.
And there was a group of black kids went there just to go look at a used car.
Yeah, car.
They ended up getting mobbed by a bunch of guys with bats, and then one of them, Yusef Hawkins, ended up getting shot in the chest.
Right.
And that caused all the riots and the uproar and everything else like that. I mean, all the way to the point where one of the guys involved in that mob ended up being an executive of Hot 97.
Yeah.
Patty Duke.
Patty Duke. That's crazy.
And once that documentary came out, when they connected the dots and they saw that this guy had been a Hot 97 for like 30 years,
wow,
he got fired that same day.
Wow.
And let me tell you something. I actually emailed the program director. Once I saw the story start to circulate, just like on a couple of Instagram sites, I emailed the program director at Hot 97. And I said, hey, do you guys have a response to this? And then I didn't get a response, but then I saw an Instagram post like maybe an hour or two later that said, we have decided to terminate his employment.
Wow.
Because of his involvement in it. It's kind of crazy how he was really under the radar all these years.
Right.
Involved in the murder of a black kid and then goes to go work at a black station.
Right.
A station that caters to the black community.
Right.
Playing
that
hip-hop.
just shows you like who's really in charge.
Well,
in terms of that, right? Because like because from what I heard Ebro say, people were talking about it. It wasn't like people didn't know about it.
Oh, okay.
Right? Ebro say he heard about it before.
Oh.
And they talked about this before. So that means that the station already knew about it, right? And because it wasn't a big deal, because it didn't go viral, because it wasn't trending, right? It was okay. But now that it's trending, now he's not fit to work here no more. But you guys knew about that for the whole 30 years.
Facts. No, that's a good point. They kept him employed knowing what they knew.
Right. So, I mean.
Well, hopefully he has some money saved up, because to get fired from a job like that in such a high profile manner, no other station's going to hire him.
Nobody.
No one wants that PR headache.
Yeah, he's canceled.
Like, Z100 hires
Yusef
Hawkins murderer.
Crazy.
Nah.
But to speak on the Yusef, we did, I was supposed to come out here to Los Angeles and to Las Vegas like a couple weeks ago, but I canceled to go to the Yusef Hawkins rally. And that was like maybe like a week or two after it was like 2-3 weeks after our event in Bensonhurst. And the people reached out to us, the people that organized it reached out to us and was like, hey, would you come to our rally? And I was like, yo, we just came and did a rally over here. It wouldn't be right if we didn't also show support, to something that happened, although it was 30 years ago. You know what I mean? It's only right. So I canceled Las Vegas, and I wanted to go to Las Vegas, you know what I'm saying? But I canceled so we can stand tall with the brothers and sisters over there and to show, show some solidarity.
Well, you also went to the Washington, D.C. rally.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw pictures of that.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was that? That rally was already set up months before.
Right.
So it wasn't specifically over what was happening.
Jacob Blake.
Right. Because it seemed like it was there was a focus on Jacob Blake, but like I said, it was something that was set up before Jacob Blake even happened.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
The Jacob Blake, I think they just they just aligned with it because it just happened, like maybe like 2 days before, I don't know, a couple days before the rally, before the march, in DC. And it was really the 57th anniversary of Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech.
Uh-huh.
That's what the rally was about. That's what the march was about.
Okay. And right after our last interview, that's when George Floyd,
right,
the murder happened.
Right.
When you saw that, and you've had situations with cops.
Right.
You've had your front tooth broken out.
Right.
Busted out by a cop.
Right.
Or a CO.
Right.
Basically a cop.
Right.
What other situations have you had with cops?
There are a lot. Like, I've definitely been beaten by them a couple times. I've definitely been handcuffed by them and slapped around, like just stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Definitely abused, definitely oppressed, and by the officers. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that all officers are bad, right? But what I am gonna say is, at the end of the day, police are a gang, right? Police are the biggest gang in our streets. and they also move as a gang. They have like a blue wall of silence. And, you know, they look at, you know, people, if an officer does wrong and another officer says something about that, that person is ousted. Like, you know, that person is going to have the shit, you know, like he's going to have the shitty end of the stick all throughout his employment, or his or her employment. So that is moving like a gang, like no snitching, like just like, you know, and what we do is what we do. Right. And because of that, you know, I don't think that all police officers are bad, but I do think that they are a part of a system that is bad. They are a part of a system that, you know, they don't want to get fired. They don't want to get in trouble. So their heart might not be to do no fucked up stuff, but because, you know, because everybody around them and the pressure that, you know, so that's, I feel like police are police, like, you know, and until like there is a change in the system, and until there is a change in their policies, you know, I feel like there's definitely there's a lot of improvement over there.
Well, have you had a knee to your neck like that?
Yeah, definitely.
Multiple times?
Yeah.
What do you think made this situation different than what you went through? When, you know, that cop had his knee on George Floyd's neck for like 8.5 minutes.
Yo, did you see, I don't know, man, just the look on that officer's face, right? And he was crying for his mother, right? While George Floyd was crying for his mother.
Who's dead, by the way?
Who's dead, by the way?
Yeah.
Wow.
You didn't know that, huh?
I didn't even know. But
his mother had passed.
But that's crazy though, like for a man to keep, like you can feel like when you have your body on somebody and your weight is what's holding this birth, you can feel like when a person, like if he's struggling, like the way he's struggling, you can feel like, you know, and he kept his knee to his neck for how many minutes?
8 minutes, 46
8 minutes.
seconds.
You know, that's a long time. That's a long time.
That's like 3 songs.
Yo, when I was being choked, right? I remember when I saw that, I just completely just remembered how it was like for me when I was being choked. And I was just looking up and just hoping somebody would stop. Like somebody stop it. Like just praying, like please, like I wasn't saying it because I couldn't say nothing. But in my mind, I'm just thinking like, please, somebody have the heart to like stop this right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, I'm gonna die right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like over this. And I'm sure that's what he was thinking about. And when I saw that, I was just like, that's fucked up. You know what I mean? That's fucked up that he could do that. And he did that on purpose. You know what I'm saying? He did, he murdered him. Like he definitely 100% like murdered him. And and it's fucked up, regardless of what he was. But because he was black, if all of this shit didn't go viral, he wouldn't have even got arrested. Like, how many times have that already happened and nobody even knows about it, and they'll just continue with their fucking life? Like, you know what I'm saying? And nobody will ever bring it up. And I think that's so fucked up. And I think the people are just tired of it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if there weren't cameras all around filming the whole thing, it would have just came and went, hey, this guy was resisting arrest.
Right.
And he was on drugs.
Right.
And he had a heart attack. And that's that.
That's it.
That's
but
it.
But clearly you saw that wasn't it. And how many times have that happened before that? You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's what I saw, bro. I saw like, damn, a man is getting fucking killed, right? For nothing. It was for nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, he had a counterfeit $20 bill, which honestly, I've had counterfeit $20 bills before on accident. It just somehow got into, you know, my mix of money.
Yeah.
This is not, I doubt that George Floyd was a major counterfeiter. I doubt he had machines at his house creating fake money.
Right.
He just happened to have a $20 bill on accident, and then that was that. Then the guy called the police on him, and then the cop who killed him, they had a history together. They worked at the same club as security. They didn't like each other.
What?
Yeah, there's that part too. Yeah, it goes into it. They worked at the same club as security, and there was some friction between the two. So it was personal. Yeah, it's a messed up situation. What did you think of what first started out as rallies, but then turned into riots later on?
I felt like the riots were necessary, right? I mean, when you push, if you just, and I just always bring back the prison because it's, you know, like it's a smaller space and you can kind of really see, you know, what's going on. You know what I'm saying? When in prison, the only time, you remember that we talked about it. You remember it was in Brooklyn Federal when they was making all the noise and banging, 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 and there wasn't no heat in the building, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If nobody would have made noise, nobody would have knew about it, right? If they didn't bang and if they didn't bang and make noise, they wouldn't know about it. So it's the same, like in prison, if they're gonna just do whatever they want, right? And if nobody ever sees it, if the government doesn't see it, if the higher officials don't see it, if the news media doesn't get a hold of it, then it's just gonna be swept under the rug. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happens in prison. And the only time things change in prison is like, all right, the Attica riot. Have you ever heard of the Attica riot?
Of course.
All right, after the Attica riot, New York State Prison changed immensely, right? Because they rioted, because they took over the prison, they took hostages, and they did that, right? And then that raised awareness because now the news is talking about it. Now everybody is talking about it. Now the prisoners are saying, yo, man, these guys are oppressing us. We're just not being treated like human. Now all of this is going on. So after that riot, the whole system changed. Every prison in New York City changed. There were more laws to treat prisoners humanely. There was more rule, like, you know, more things that took under, you know, that took into consideration our struggle, right? The prisoner struggle. So, but if that would have never happened, the change would have never happened, right? So now when you see this George Floyd thing, I think that the riots were necessary because now it puts the pressure on everybody. It puts the pressure. Now it's not just one city rioting, it's 15 cities rioting, and everybody's just so upset. And that causes change because now everybody that wouldn't have even looked at that would have never said anything about it. Now, because it's trending, because it's the in thing to do, now people are gonna, you know, start paying attention to it and start doing things for it. And I think that is what was needed. The riots were needed for that cry. You know what I'm saying? What I didn't agree with is the looting of small businesses in our communities, in smaller communities, because they don't have nothing to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Like even if you're Russian, your grandmother has nothing to do with that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a black store owner has nothing to do with that. A Japanese, a Chinese, a Korean, a Mexican, whatever, right? They're independent store owners and they have to pay rent every day. They're busted. So they're part of the people. This movement, in my eyes, is for the people. This is like the people are coming together, right? So if the people are coming together, the people should not also be stepping over other people. You know what I'm saying? That is a part of the people. What they should be doing, which I didn't see a problem at all, you know what I'm saying, is taking it to these big corporations that have the power to really change some shit, that have the power and the money to really do some shit, you know what I'm saying, that have the power to change legislation and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? They need to say some shit. They need to start doing some shit. They need to start. So now I don't have no problem with them taking it to these bigger corporations and doing this type of shit so that more awareness can be brought and they would change their tune on how they support the people.
Well, I don't know if I fully agree with you in that regard, because what it sounds like you're saying is it's okay to burn down a Starbucks, but it's not okay to burn down Frank's coffee shop. But you're still burning down a place of business that wasn't directly related to the incident. Starbucks had nothing to do.
But these are the corporations that like I said, these are the corporations that have the power to change shit. You know what I'm saying? Like if you look at all of these people that supported Trump and Hillary Clinton, all these are corporations that support these people. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Walmart, fucking Target, I don't know, all of these corporations, they have bigger, you know, Frank's Chop Shop or I mean, mama and pop's barbershop, they can't fucking change nothing. What the hell are they gonna change? You know what I'm saying? But Target can, fucking Gucci can, all of these fucking other places can. They have the power, they have the network to do that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, yo, let's put some pressure on them. That's like, what the fuck are they doing? Like the mom and pop stores, they can't do anything. They're not changing anything. They're not responsible. I mean, they're not responsible because nobody is responsible for that. But what I'm saying is they don't have the power to do that. But these bigger chains do. And what I felt like was when people started looting these chains, it was just more media coverage, more people talking about it, the outrage. I mean, I don't think that is right, period. But I think that there's sometimes that you just have to cry out, and you have to cry out with some extremity. You know what I'm saying? And you have to do some extreme shit because extreme actions cause for change. You're never gonna get a change with just like this. No powerful change like that.
Well, I mean, they burned down police stations.
Right. That's powerful.
When these incidents happened. And I'm not against that. Right. George Floyd's, the cop that killed him in that police station got set on fire. And I believe that whole police station the whole police force got disbanded after that. I'm okay with that. But if you burn down a Target or if you loot a Target, there is, hundreds of people in that community that work in that Target that now don't have a job afterwards. There are shareholders in that corporation, like people with their retirement funds and their 401ks are invested into these companies. It's not just a big monolithic small group of billionaires that control it all. Like, these are public corporations. For example, I had BG Knockout on my show, and he was involved in the LA riots, the first one. And he said he was out every day. They burned up the neighborhood, they rioted, they flipped over cars and everything else like that. But when the dust settled, all these stores in their communities were gone now.
Yeah.
They couldn't go to the grocery store down the street anymore. They had to go drive way out.
Right.
So that's why
they shouldn't do it today. They shouldn't have did it to their community. What I'm saying is, I don't necessarily, I wouldn't go out and loot. I wouldn't go out and burn down a Target. I wouldn't do that. And I'm not promoting it. I'm not telling anybody to do that. What I am saying is that I do see why they would do it, because at the end of the day, if you go to a Target, yes, other people will lose their jobs, but there are other people suffering, right? There are people that suffer, and nobody takes it. Nobody before it was cool, before it was trending, nobody really took it out of their lives to pay attention to what's going on over here. So if it doesn't affect them, it doesn't really matter. So now if you take this pain and this suffering and you spread it over here and you let that move over here, now you're feeling pain and suffering too, right? Well, we're feeling pain and suffering here too. So we should all be equal. Like, you know what I'm saying? It shouldn't just be this one people over here being targeted and being oppressed, and everybody else over here is doing fine. No. So now if this is going on and nobody is willing to address the elephant in the room, then let's go over here and raise some hell so people can understand our struggle and our plight and our anger and frustration. And that's what's happening. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that I promote it, and I'm not saying that I would do it myself, but I'm saying that I understand why the people would do it. And I also understand that the change that came after that is starting to happen, is happening. You know what I'm saying? So for that, I feel like, at the end of the day, I don't want anybody to lose their job. I don't want anybody to suffer, like, in that sense. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, there are a lot of people over here suffering over here, that things that I would never have to worry about, things that you would never have to worry about. So if it doesn't bother us, but you know what I'm saying? Like, are we really going to pay it attention if it's not bothering us? No, we're really not. Yeah. So when they start raising when the people start raising some awareness and start showing their frustration, that's the only time we're going to be like, you know what? That is fucked up. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Breonna Taylor got killed during a no-knock home.
Right, horrible.
Justice to warrant / home invasion, essentially.
They need to arrest those cops.
Well, her boyfriend is now being offered a plea deal where if he says that she was part of his drug operation, they're going to drop that 10-year sentence that he's potentially facing.
Yeah, he better not take that shit.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows
I hope he
how-
doesn't take it.
It shows how
But that's
dirty.
That's how
the
dirty
cops
they are. They're
were.
dirty, man. They are a gang. They are worse than the mafia. They are worse than all of that. They are a gang. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But and if you really think about it, just think about how tough of a decision this must be for this man right now. So you're telling me all he has to do, imagine someone tells you this, okay, look, you're facing 10 years in prison, but we'll drop it if you just say this dead person, was involved with you.
Right.
That's it. They're not going to do any prison time because they're not alive anymore.
Yeah,
Why would you go do a bunch of extra prison time for a lie that doesn't hurt anybody, right?
Right.
Like I think most rational people would take that deal. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not to say that's the right thing to do.
Right.
It's not the right thing to do. It's a dirty trick that the cops are playing. But most rational people, when they say, am I going to potentially sit in a jail cell for 10 years, or am I just going to give this statement that technically is not going to hurt anybody?
Nah.
But the world is watching.
The world is watching.
So you have that
Take that
extra
10,
pressure.
bro. Take that 10. Take that 10.
Yeah, and he probably won't do 10. He probably might do one or two.
Take whatever. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Take whatever. I would take that 10. I wouldn't take a 10 for a lot of shit.
You
But
take
that
10
right
for
there, I
that,
would take
yeah.
that 10.
Have you ever had a no-knock warrant?
No.
No. So you've never had the cops burst in your house or anything else like that?
Wait, just bursting. So a no-knock is just when they burst the door open.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've had that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What were you charged with? What was the reason
It
for that?
was a gang. We was in a gang house.
Oh, this was in New York.
Yeah, in Chinatown.
Okay, so you were in Chinatown, and this house was
A gang house.
a gang house.
Right.
And
they
this was
just
which
burst in.
gang?
Ghost Shadows.
The Ghost Shadows. So you guys all lived there, or just a meeting spot?
We lived there. Like the bosses didn't live there. But
Oh.
like, the street, us on the street,
soldiers and
the soldiers would live there.
How many people were roughly in that house?
Depends how big the house is, but roughly like maybe like five people would probably live there,
Mhm.
but then it would probably be like 10, 15 people there all the time
Just hanging
because
out.
people just hanging out, right?
Okay, so the police found out that this was one of the strongholds of the Ghost Shadows.
Right.
So they just took a battering, like one of those big battering
Yeah, they would
rams?
say no. Somebody would have to do something. Like say somebody got shot and they believe that it was one of the ghost shots, and they at this house, right? Then they'll just come.
They kick down the door.
Yeah, they kick down the
batter
door.
down the door.
Right, and then they just same thing that you see in movies.
They just
Everybody
run
get down.
in.
Yeah, everybody.
How many
down.
cops roughly?
There'd be a team of them. There'll be like the initial 2, 3 come in, and then there's like the whole staircase is filled with them, and they're like, I seen that.
Like
Right.
10 deep or something.
Even more.
15 deep.
Right.
Wow.
Even more.
So you were in the house when this happened.
Yeah,
So you heard the loud bang and then
absolutely.
get on the floor.
Right, and they come early in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, I interviewed Turk from the Hot Boys.
Right.
And he had that happen to him.
Yeah.
And he shot one of the cops,
Right.
thinking it was a home invasion.
Hell yeah. I mean,
And he went to prison afterwards.
3 days later, that's when the SWAT team kicked in the door. 2 police officers got shot. They shot literally 52 times, man, and I didn't get hit or grazed. My wife ain't get hit, man, and the police, man, I found out they were the police. I never intended to shoot no police. You feel me? I thought we was being robbed. So, you gonna go in the closet if you want to kill a police? Nah, you better shoot through that motherfucking door. You feel me? You don't know who they is.
He described it, he thought it was like a robbery. He thought someone was breaking in there to kill him. So
Right.
he did what, any homeowner would do and start to shoot back, and it ended up being the cops. He luckily survived. Breonna Taylor was just sleeping.
but what was their reason for just busting in and shooting?
I guess they're saying the boyfriend was a drug dealer.
But were there shots?
I'm not sure.
So they weren't even responding. They were just coming in with shots.
That's what it sounded
And
like.
that's crazy.
That's what it sounded like. So when that happened to you, did anyone shoot back?
Nah.
Okay, because you guys knew it was the cops.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So it was like, okay, there's no...
Right.
this
And
is just-
people like, there were guns, but they were all like stashed away. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they weren't like right there, So
Right. How many people got arrested that day?
They
Everybody?
took all of us.
So all of you got
Yeah,
arrested.
they took all of us, but you know, they didn't arrest us per se. They put us for lineup, and they did that, and then they let you know, whoever wasn't involved, whoever beat the lineup, they just let them go. But they did take yeah.
Well, then Jacob Blake just happened.
Right.
Shot 7 times in the back.
Mm-hmm.
That was a rough one to watch.
It's crazy, but he's alive, thank God.
Yeah, but he's paralyzed.
Right.
From the waist down. I can't even imagine that. Like one day you're living your life and chilling and hanging out with your kids. The next day you're in a wheelchair.
Right.
These cops just look like they're terrified. Like they're just so scared that they're just shooting at any possible thing. Because when you watch that video, it's like, man, you could have done so much before you start shooting this guy in the back. You could have shot him in the leg. You could have hit him with a baton. I guess they're trying to tase him and he wasn't really reacting.
Yeah. But they're not trained like that. They're not trained to shoot in the leg. They're not trained to shoot you in your arm or shoot you anywhere else. They're trained to shoot you to die, like to kill you. Once they fire the gun, they got to kill you. Like their intent is to kill you.
Right. It's not designed to stop you or slow you down.
No. So that's the system. That's how the system trains the officers.
Well, to switch gears a little bit, R. Kelly, who's still locked up, just got stabbed with a pen by one of the inmates.
I heard about that.
They showed a picture of this guy. We'll go ahead and show his mugshot. His face is all tatted up. I guess he has "fuck the feds" tattooed on his face. Just to think that this man, like a year ago, was touring around the world and living his best life and living in mansions and has money in the bank and women throwing themselves at him, and now he's getting stabbed with a pen in prison and getting beat up. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah, life is filled with twists and turns. You never know. You know, nobody is too good to fall, and nobody is incapable of flying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Which kind of reminds me of the R. Kelly, "I Believe I Could Fly."
Right.
But
he flew. He definitely flew. You know what I mean?
But just had a hard landing after
he just had a hard landing. I mean, how do I feel about that situation? Like, I feel like that's what should be happening in prisons and stuff like that. You know, if you have them type of charges and stuff like that, like, you know, charges like raping and molesting children and things like that. I feel like I'm not saying that everybody should be stabbing people with pens, but I feel like they should have rough bids.
Right. Well, from what I understand, a group of black women who are R. Kelly super fans decided to have like a little protest outside of like the jail. It's like a free R. Kelly protest. Yeah. And when that happens, I guess it triggered a lockdown in the prison. So all the other inmates are looking at R. Kelly like, motherfucker, we're fucked up because of you.
No, they wouldn't have a lockdown because of that.
That's what I heard.
Nah.
No, you think that's bullshit?
Yeah, that's bullshit. They wouldn't have a lockdown because there's a fucking a protest outside. A lockdown happens only like when it's like security issues like inside, like, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I don't see like a little protest outside stopping the thing.
Well, I'm surprised that they let R. Kelly be in any level of general population. I mean,
he was in GP?
Well, who stabbed him?
I mean,
it wasn't a guard.
But that
guy
he could be
like
in
PC.
He could be in PC too, though. He could be in PC, and somebody did that to him in PC. Like in PC, it's not like, well, I don't know how like that is over there, but like in PC, like they keep people in different units, and
right. But you're with other people in PC. With other people. So if you're with a bunch of maniacs in PC,
right,
you're stuck with those with that group. Is a pen like a common weapon?
Yeah. Because a pen is like accessible. It's there, and it's like, you know, it's small. It's
And do you kind of, can you turn into more of a knife kind of object?
Yeah,
If you
you
kind
could.
of
You
scrape
could just
it
take
down?
the base of the pen, and take
Oh.
another object and like sharpen it, and then put that object, like burn it onto the pen, and then from there now you got like a little razor that you would have handled.
Man, imagine R. Kelly thinking like, how the hell did I get here? Like a series of bad decisions. I'm now having to worry about getting stabbed with a fucking pen after living my best life for the last 40 years. Like being a superstar, R&B, sex symbol, multi-platinum selling, writing hits for other people, like working with Michael Jackson. And here I am wondering if the guy next to me has a pen that he's going to stab me with. Like, I don't think he can get any lower than that. I think he's absolute rock bottom right now.
Right.
Until he gets sentenced, which it could get
Oh,
worse.
he still hasn't gotten sent.
Nah, the trial hasn't happened yet. You'd hear about that.
Wow.
You never know. He might beat it again. You never know. He beat it the first time.
Right. You never
know. Well, let's talk about China for a second. China and U.S. relations are pretty much as bad as I can remember.
Right.
COVID-19 definitely did not help.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the president saying terms like the China virus, which not only affects Chinese Americans, but it also affects on how the world sort of functions with China. When you look at China-U.S. relations, how do you feel as a Chinese American?
If it sucks, but at the end of the day, I'm here. I'm in America. I'm not in China. I'm an American. You know what I'm saying? I was born and raised here. So, it's like, it's messed up. But at the end of the day, this is my home, right? America is my home. I'm born and raised here.
Right.
So
you've never been in China, right?
No.
Yeah.
I've been to Hong Kong, which is,
close.
But at that time it wasn't China.
Yeah.
So I've never been to China. And that's my, like, China is my home in the sense of, like, my roots, my culture, like, my culture, my roots. But America is my home in the sense of the word, right? So I'm torn.
I mean, you mentioned Hong Kong, and that's a very interesting kind of thing. Because before COVID, you had all the riots and protests that were happening in Hong Kong. Because Hong Kong was once an English colony, and then it went back to China, I think in around the 90s, but it was supposed to still be an autonomous kind of democratic capitalist kind of place.
For a certain amount of years.
But now China's trying to kind of accelerate that and take that back and take away a lot of the rights. Like, for example, once they pass certain laws, a lot of people start deleting their whole Twitter history. Because you can't speak out against the Chinese government. You just can't.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say, I hate the president of China, or I think the Chinese government is trash, or whatever else.
You can't say the president, Trump, like, how we bash the president. You can't say that.
You can't do that. Or else you get locked up.
Yeah.
And I came from a place where it was like that.
Right. But Hong Kong wasn't like that.
Hong Kong wasn't like that.
Hong Kong was the only part in China that was like, that you can really do, that had that type of freedom.
Yeah. Right. Because you don't have Google in Hong Kong. You don't have YouTube.
In Hong Kong you do.
No, but not in China, mainland China. But in Hong Kong you had Google.
Hong Kong you had Google, YouTube, everything that we have. Hong Kong has it as well, to my knowledge. And then but China you don't.
Right, and it seems like I saw videos from Wuhan, which was the epicenter of COVID-19, where they're having big pool parties and there's hundreds of people out and they're chilling and like.
Right.
It's sort of interesting because the countries like America that have all these free rights and all this freedom, no one wants to follow the rules. And COVID just keeps getting, it's not getting bigger, but it's been steady now for months. Whereas you go to places like China and the rates are actually very low.
Right.
People aren't getting sick. but there's also a lot more restrictions. Like
Right.
you will get arrested if you do not follow the rules.
Right.
How do you feel about that overall? Do you think that what's happening in the U.S. is the wrong approach? Because it's not really working.
The approach of what?
Well, they're not really enforcing anything.
Right.
They tell you to wear a mask, but if you don't, you might get yelled at by somebody at a store, but that's about it.
I mean, that's the different ways of the two countries govern itself, right? China, like you said, is like you have to obey the rules, and they enforce it with like an iron fist, you know. Versus America, there's more freedom, and you know you can kind of like, you know, the government says something, but the people really, there's more freedom in that. So
right, and the president is also trying to downplay it, say,
Yeah.
"Oh, it's not that bad."
right,
You know, Herman Cain, who died of COVID, is continuing to tweet from his Twitter account saying COVID is not as deadly as people say it is,
right.
even though he died from COVID. So
Wait, he died from COVID and he's still tweeting that?
Yeah,
Who's tweeting it?
I guess someone related to him
COVID
who's
is
still a
death.
Trump supporter. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. And he died from going to a Trump rally
Right.
and not wearing a mask. There's a picture of him
Wow.
with a bunch of other like black Trump supporters. Like, we're not wearing masks. Take that.
What do you think about that? What do you think about what is Trump's stance on that now?
He didn't really comment on it. I mean, he sent out an RIP, but he didn't feel like he was responsible.
No, but what is his stance on wearing a mask in the COVID situation? Did he tweet out like something about COVID? Everything was like the numbers and all of that.
Yeah. He's always saying the numbers are inflated because there's more tests. You know, you get more tests, you get more positive results. So that's the stupid. I think Trump is just trying to get elected.
Right.
And he doesn't give a shit who dies in the process.
Right.
Just as long as he gets reelected.
Right.
And he, you know, because I also think that Trump realizes once he's no longer in office, he's probably going to go to prison. All the shit that he's done along the way, once he's no longer the president of the United States and can't write certain things into law, I think he's probably going to go to prison. That's what I think. You know, Jamel Hill, who was just on my show recently, she had a tweet that she said, if you vote for Trump, you're a racist. You have no wiggle room.
I mean, I don't really follow politics like that too much, you know? Like
Yeah.
I just know I try to kind of like, you know, blank that out. But as I'm like stepping into this activism, and I wouldn't consider myself an activist, me and my brother Will would say that, you know, we're activators, right? So we're not activists. We're just trying to activate a different way of thinking, a different way of approaching things.
Yeah.
But as I'm stepping into this space, you know, I'm learning more about it. But the more I learn about it, the more like I realize why I didn't want to know about it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, because Trump is trying to ban TikTok,
Right.
which is a Chinese-owned
Right.
company. And now they're saying that it could only stay around if it gets bought out by an American company. And Microsoft and Walmart are trying to buy it. But now TikTok is saying they're going to sue the Trump administration and so forth. It's a weird thing because TikTok is huge right now.
Yeah.
You know, but it's weird to I've never heard of a Chinese company being targeted like this.
Well, I believe that, I mean, I think that a war between America and China is happening, is going to happen. Like it's
An
brewing.
actual armed war.
If not, some type of war, because maybe you know, some type of war. It could be. It's a different world now. So like, you know, wars are fought differently too now.
Right, because when Russia and America was at war, essentially, they couldn't fight each other because everyone had nuclear weapons. But what they would do is they would just support groups in other countries.
Yeah.
Like the Vietnam War
Yeah.
was really just the U.S. versus Russia, communism versus democracy. Afghanistan, same type of thing. Like a lot of these countries would wage these kind of wars, but on other people's soil, and they would just put money into it. There is something that I read about China that was kind of concerning. and that is the treatment of Muslims in China. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I heard.
So since 2017, China has built 260 internment camps. This is made for the detention of minority Muslim populations, which started in 2016. Hundreds of thousands of Uyghurs and Kazakhs and other Muslim minorities. It's the largest scale detention of an ethnic religious minority since World War II.
Wow.
The Chinese government doesn't include the internment camps as part of their criminal justice system, so the detainees have never been formally charged or arrested for a crime. That's crazy.
That's tough.
Do you know of Muslims living in China?
Yeah, I mean, I knew about that. Like, I knew that there was a point in time, there was a lot of Muslims. There was like more Muslims in China than any other religion from what I was told.
Really?
There was a time, yeah, because there was like all the parts of China, like the parts more towards like, you know, India and like, you know, the other parts. There's a lot of Muslim countries there. There's a lot of Muslim
Pakistan and so forth. It's all Muslim, right? Oh, so those people would move into China,
right?
But in China, I guess religion is still outlawed, or not really.
I don't even know. I don't even know.
The People's Republic of China is an officially atheist state.
Wow.
Which, while having freedom of religion as a principle normally enshrined with the laws and constitution of the country, nevertheless possess a number of laws that restrict religious activities within China. China is an atheist country,
right?
And religious activities don't really have any laws around it. So if you have a group of Muslims,
and
they're
that's
just locking them up,
right?
Which is crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
I couldn't just imagine living like that. Like, you know, imagine living like that, man. I think that's fucked up. You know what I mean? You know, it just hurts to even think about that. To even think about people are suffering in that magnitude just because of their faith or just because of their ethnicity or whatever, you know? And it's fucked up that our world is that fucked up.
Well, Godfrey, who's a regular guest on my show, we talked about how black people were being treated badly in China, and then how the Nigerian countries kind of, you know, some of the government in Nigeria started kicking out Chinese residents, and Godfrey said, well, you know, this is kind of like an eye for an eye type of thing. He said that a lot of Asian people started to threaten him, like over DMs, and started to get mad at him, and so forth. When you look at Black-Asian relations, which have been very strained in America, like, for example, the Rodney King riots, although most people feel that it was because of the actual beating of Rodney King, there was a very specific situation that happened before that, which is when a black girl, like a black teenage girl, got shot in the back by a Korean woman who owned a store. You know about this?
I heard about it.
Right. So what happened was, right before the riots, right before the Rodney King thing happened, in LA, a black girl was in a store. I think she was like maybe 13 years old. There's a Korean woman who owned the store accused her of stealing like an orange juice or something. So she grabbed the girl's backpack forcibly and started to yank the backpack, and the girl like punched the woman in the face in retaliation and got her backpack back, you know, in her possession. And as she was walking out, the Korean woman pulled out a gun and shot her in the back and killed her.
Yeah.
It went to trial, and the jury found that woman guilty. And the judge, this white female judge, felt that that woman had already, you know, suffered enough and learned her lesson, and basically just gave her community service.
What?
So you had that happen. So then you had these tensions in LA that were already really high.
They just gave her community service?
She got community service. This is an actual fact. I had just seen a documentary on this recently. The jury even did their job. You can't even blame it, you know, because like the jury in the Rodney King trial ended up finding that the officer's not guilty. So you could blame it on the jury. But the jury did their job in this point. They said this woman killed this little girl, shot her in the back for no reason, just because she was mad that she got punched in the eye.
That's wrong.
Over a situation she started.
That's wrong.
And she got community service.
Yeah, that's not right.
And then that happened, and right
because
after,
honestly, if that was a black woman or a Mexican woman, or like, you know, it probably would have been different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's fucked up.
Yeah.
I feel like this is what God put me on this earth for, right? Is to help build the relations between the two communities. You know, I feel like the reason why our communities aren't, but this is just like, you know, this tension, right? Is because of the lack of communication, the lack of bridge building, the lack of just like, you know, building a community within the two communities, right? And I feel like it's long overdue for that. Long overdue for that. I mean, there are like Asian people that you know, that, but for the most part, a lot of people in impoverished neighborhoods, a lot of people in the black communities, they don't really have dealings, well, at least from what I've experienced, and I could be wrong about other places. I haven't been everywhere, so I can't speak for everywhere, but I can speak for where I've been, right? And from what I've seen is, in these black communities and these other communities, if they're impoverished, right, you'll see Chinese restaurants there. You'll always see a Chinese restaurant there.
Oh yeah.
You'll always see a nail salon there. You'll always see something, and they're there to get the you know, to conduct business in these neighborhoods, right? And number one, to speak for these store owners is dangerous. You know what I'm saying? You're going in these neighborhoods. These are dangerous neighborhoods, right? And for you to be the only Asian, the only Chinese or Korean or whatever you are to be in these neighborhoods, and to have a language barrier coming straight from China or coming straight from wherever they're coming from.
And they don't usually live in these neighborhoods. They work
don't.
in these neighborhoods, and
And
they go
leave.
back
They go somewhere
to
else.
usually more of an Asian neighborhood.
Right. But they go to these neighborhoods to make money. So they come in with a language barrier, with whatever, like, and they're not from, like, I would never open up a Chinese restaurant in, you know, the middle of the hood somewhere. That's not just what I'm trying to do in my life. You know what I'm saying? And most American-born Asian Americans are not going to do that either. It's the Asian people that are coming from these other countries, immigrants that are coming from these other places, that are building these stores there, right? Because
why?
Because is money.
It's
because,
cheaper.
Yeah, because it's cheaper to get it. It's easier. Like, you know, there's a need for it. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it's because there's less competition there. You could just go there. Nobody wants to go there, right? So they'll just open up a restaurant. That's why you see that happening so much, and that the willingness to, you know, to make a better life for their family, they're going into these places, right? And there's a language barrier, and already they have these notions of the black people from watching media, from whatever, right? So that's number one. And number two, when they're coming in these neighborhoods, it's war torn. Like, a lot of these neighborhoods are, you know, you see people getting shot in the store, outside the store. You see people getting robbed. You see police coming in. Like, just imagine how much things they would see within just a 1 year span of having a Chinese restaurant in the middle of the hood, and they be in the middle of the hoods. Like, so just imagine what they see. So now, you know, there's a language barrier. And Asian people are already, like, you know, they're already like insular, like they really just keep to themselves already, like that, right? Mm-hmm. So now when they do this, it's like, you know, the tension is just brewing because there's no communication here. Even though I'm here every day, I'm never going to communicate. There's no communication.
Right. People aren't hanging out. They're not getting to know their community. Right. They're not going to their customers' homes and having dinner with their customers. They're not inviting those people back to their home.
Right.
They're not forming friendships.
Right.
And that's always been like, for example, I went to UC Berkeley.
Right.
Which had a huge Asian population at the school, especially in computer science, where I went to school. And you would always have these groups of Asian kids that would just rock with each other.
Yeah.
They would speak Chinese to each other.
That's our culture. That's how we
they would go in their own groups. They wouldn't talk to people like me at all.
Right.
And it creates a bit of friction.
It does. Even you can never say anything to me.
Yeah.
Right. We never have any type of interaction with each other, but just because of that interaction, you feel like, oh, he feel like he better than me.
Yeah. No. I remember, like, for example, like at my school.
So just imagine in the hood.
Yeah.
So just imagine in the hood where
magnified 10 times.
Right. Magnified 10 times, where people are coming in and out of these stores, and it's like, you know, the different attitudes and the different, like, you know, so they're experiencing, so there's tension like this, you know what I'm saying? And these people are starting to feel like a certain way because there's no communication. So there's no communication, no way. So now our whole existence, Asian existence in a lot of these people's minds is just from that. Mm-hmm. Just from those experiences with them going to buy a chicken wing fried rice and going to the corner store to buy apple juice or orange juice or whatever it is. That's it. So now, but these people are not everybody. You know what I'm saying? These people, and it's amongst kind of extreme situations, extreme differences. So that's why it's like that. But what the movement that I want to do, and the movement that I'm pushing, and what I want to do right now, what I'm setting out to do is to bridge that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, because remember, you know, I was brought up in a system, right? From very young. I was 8 years old in my first institution, and and when I first went in there, it was total culture shock. Total, like, I just didn't understand anything, because everything that was happening was like definitely not what my mother taught me, you know what I'm saying? Or what my family taught me. It was totally different. But I was so young at that time that, you know, I was able to, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? To assimilate to what was going on, and then also have my own culture at the same time. And I saw that there, you know, we can get along with each other. You know what I'm saying? We can very well get along with each other. We can benefit each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, there are racist Asians, but there are racist black people. There are racist everybody. You know what I'm saying? Nobody is perfect. No people is perfect. No community is perfect. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is communication. All we need is some communication. You know what I'm saying? All we need, and me being an Asian American, I feel like that it is because of this perception that these neighborhoods have of us, because of these people, the perception that the people have of us, of these store owners and these preying on the community and these things. That's the perception, because that's really what they've been seeing. And because of that, I feel a necessity to make the first gesture, right? And I feel like as Asian Americans, right, Asian Americans, we should strengthen our neighborhoods, and we should gesture to open up bridges with other people, because now is not a time for us to be fighting amongst each other. Now is not a time for us to be fighting. Now is a time to kind of pool together some resources and kind of figure out, hey, you know, how can we help each other versus how can we kill each other, because we have enough adversities right now. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like these rallies that we're doing is not just to rally up Asian people in an Asian supremacy way. Like, that's definitely not my agenda. That's not our agenda. You know what I'm saying? Our agenda, our goal is to strengthen the Asian communities, is to change the narrative of us being weak and docile, to change the narrative of us being quiet and allowing ourselves to be bullied, but also to change the narrative between the relationships of the different communities that are around us, to build bridges with other communities. And that's what I feel like I'm put on this earth to do.
Well, I had Akon on my show recently.
Right. Fuck him.
You don't fuck with Akon?
Nah, man.
Okay. I wasn't expecting that, but explain what you mean.
I just think that that's fucking, I don't know, man. I think that what Akon did was a slap in the face. You know what I'm saying? Was a slap in the face, just slap in the face.
Which part?
with him collabing with
Tekashi?
Tekashi.
Oh, that part. Okay.
Right.
All right. We can talk about that part.
Well, is that the part you were?
No,
So
it was going to be a different part, but let's talk about this and we'll get to my part.
right.
So Akon did Locked Up Part 2.
Yeah.
Which is the first song on Tekashi's album.
He's a clown. I don't like. He's a fucking clown to me.
Akon's my man.
Yeah,
we go back many, many years, like 15 years or something. But when Akon sat down where you're sitting right now,
yeah,
and I brought up the whole Locked Up, Tekashi collab, I said I wasn't feeling it. And I got to say, since me and you go back, I could keep it 100 with you.
Right.
I was actually kind of disappointed over the Tekashi remake of Locked Up. And me and him kind of argued back and forth.
Right. I watched that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he has his points. I have my points. We ultimately just agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Neither one of us convinced the other that what we're doing is right. I personally didn't feel that he should have done that. I thought he had a classic song. And what Tekashi pulled was some bullshit. He had people like Kuda B. He hired them to go shoot at Chief Keef and then testified against him and put him in prison.
Yeah. Akon is a clown, bro.
Tekashi has the number one song in the country, number one album in the country right now.
Yeah.
And since last time, he's not only had that, but the number one song in the country with Nicki Minaj. I pointed out recently on Instagram, and a lot of people got mad at me and said that I was a hater. But what I pointed out was that if you look at the Spotify top 50 list of songs, Tekashi does not have a single song on that list. I've never seen that before. Usually when you have a number one album, you are dominating that whole chart. Like your whole, like when Drake drops an album, every song on that album is somewhere on that top 50 list. So Tekashi dropped allegedly the number one album according to Billboard, and not a single song is on there.
Yeah. I didn't even know he dropped the album. I mean,
it's called Tattletales.
Yo, but I know. All right, so this is why I think Akon is a clown, right? And I don't know him personally, and you know what I'm saying. I just think that was some clown shit he did, right? And this is why. My experience with that song, Locked Up. I was locked up when that song came out. A lot of people found solace in that song. A lot of people like use that song for it spoke to them. It gave them hope. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people that are doing life really love that song. Wake up in the morning, they work out to the song, and it's just like music is soothes the soul. Music gives us different type of hope in a place like that, right? So when a song like that, I'm locked up, it's just like an anthem for us. And it touched a lot of people, right? A lot of people that are incarcerated, a lot of people that have been incarcerated, a lot of people that are still incarcerated doing life, you know what I'm saying? And that song spoke volumes to them, moved them in different ways, right? And here this guy goes and totally like just didn't even take into consideration of that, right? And does something with Tekashi on the song. And I felt like that was a slap in the face, number one. Number two, and I watched, shout out to My Son, and I watched My Son's live with Akon, and My Son was just hitting them with like, you know what I'm saying, facts. And Akon was just dancing around it with like, this silly smirk on his face too. Like, and he was smiling. He just thought it was funny, right? He thought it was funny, but I don't think there's nothing funny in this. You know what I'm saying? Because if you look at it, just look at now I think by me stating this at this time, right, is a lot different than me stating this like 6 months ago when I came on here and talked about the whole Tekashi situation. It's different, right? You know why? Because this man has an album called Tattletale. His merch says rat, or his merch is just...
Wait, he's got rats on his merch?
He has something about snitching or something. On his merch, on his clothes, there's something about snitching on it.
Right. Well, you predicted that he's going to make snitching cool.
Right. So now Akon, What the fuck are you doing, bro? Like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? What about nobody in your camp? I just don't understand. Like, money is money, but some money is just no good money, bro.
I don't think he did it for money.
Or clout.
Akon is wealthy.
Clout. Or just being.
Akon's not rich. Akon is wealthy.
Okay, all right. But fuck money. Well, I'm just talking about money and the need to be relevant and the need to be like this, because that also equates to success, right? So like by him doing that, I think it's bullshit. If he really did it because he was trying to change the narrative of some shit, he did that shit fucked up. He did that shit fucked up because he didn't actually talk. If he would have just had a conversation with this kid and kind of like, all right, so before we do this song, let's figure out where you about to go. Like, what are you doing with this? Like, how you about to change this? Like, are you about to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you going to do? Like, you know what I'm saying? Are you going to try to make this shit look cool? Like, you're going to fucking, like, or are you going to really trying to, like, use your story to better the people? You know what I'm saying? And Tekashi 6ix9ine is not using his story to better the people.
No, he's out in Chicago.
Right. He's using this shit to, like, he's doing shit, right? To and this is fucked up. He's doing shit to entertain the people, but also send messages to our young kids that this stupid shit is funny. And then he's putting this shit on the merch. His name of the album is Tattletale. So he's just making a big mockery of this shit, right? So now our kids, fuck the gangster law. Fuck all of that shit, right? Fuck all. I'm not talking about that right now. I'm not talking about the rules of the street. I'm not talking about none of that. What I'm talking about is this message that we're sending to the kids. Because the kids, people are still going to be doing crimes. There's not, our fucking system is fucked up. The times are fucked up. The economy is fucked up. Like, so now we're going to be, the crime is ever like present in our communities now, right? So now, when the lesson is, the crime isn't going to lessen. So by you doing this now, you're just promoting like, hey, you know, it's not even about, it's just sad, bro. And Akon allowed that. Akon didn't do that to change. Like, I could see if he came up with a plan to use this story to spread a bigger message, to change like these kids' ways of thinking, and that's different. You know what I'm saying? If they were doing that, that's different. You know what I mean? Like, I would still, you doing some shit to help the people. You using this kid, but you're using him to tell a story to educate our kids, right? That's one thing. But what they did wasn't that. He's over here fucking doing, he's going to Nipsey Hussle's fucking mural, yeah, and purposely spelling his name wrong on the post. That was a slap in the fucking face.
He spelled Nipsey Hussle's name wrong.
Nispy. He spelled it Nisp. He spelled it wrong.
Right. He also went to Chicago
and did all that, right?
He was on O Block. He was like making fun of Lil Durk's cousin getting killed. Newski, talking about smoking a Newski pack. And he's basically doing exactly what he was doing before he got locked up. There's really no difference. I told my staff like that we're no longer going to be subscribed to this clown show. We're no longer posting everything Tekashi does. Unless it's a very, very major event around him, but we're not posting his videos. We're not posting when he was running around Chicago or going back and forth with Durk.
And y'all shouldn't.
We just didn't. We're not supporting that.
And I think more people should see that, although although a lot of people say that you're a federal agent, you know what I'm saying? Which I've never seen. I don't know, but you might be an undercover one. And if you are, then you're fucking really good at this.
I would be very deep undercover if this is the case. After 12 years of running VladTV, my cover still has not been blown.
Right. So just,
Donnie Brasco ain't got shit on me if I really am one of these guys.
Right. So with you being a Fed and all that, you know what I'm saying? You still do like certain like stand up shit. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of people don't give you some of that credit.
It's okay.
Although you work for the feds. I mean,
hey man, listen, history will remember what I did. And what I contributed, and that's fine. I'm not tripping over a couple people getting mad. But I mean, it's a very interesting situation, but we're no longer supporting this. But he's got academics who's actually on his album Academics actually has like a verse or something
Yeah.
on the album, and they're cool. Gilly the Kid had actually posted a video where Tekashi was telling him like, "Yo, let's do the interview. It's gonna be the biggest thing you ever did." Blah blah. And Gilly was like, "Me interviewing a rat is not gonna be the biggest thing I ever did."
Yeah.
And he turned it down.
Gangster.
And I actually give him props.
Gangster,
I give Gilly props for that.
Gilly is a gangster, bro. Gilly, Gilly, and gangster, I don't mean killing people, shooting people, and doing street shit. Gangster in the sense of doing man shit, fuck the views, fuck the comments, fuck the money, fuck that. What's right? Whatever you feel like is right, that's what you should do. And I felt like in Akon's shoes, he didn't do that. He went with the other shit. You know what I'm saying? But if he really wanted to change, with that move, wasn't trying to change shit. He was just trying to be relevant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And like I said, I disagreed with him.
Right.
On camera. And it became like the biggest clip.
And that's
from our
gangster.
interview.
That's gangster. You know what I'm saying? By you disagreeing. I watched that shit and I was like,
yeah, no,
yo,
I was
Vlad really asking him some he's not letting him fly with this shit. You know what I'm saying?
No. And me and him are friends and I respect him and we go back. Right? Like, this is someone I have a lot of respect for.
Right.
Probably, I might say that Akon is probably the most important person that I have a personal relationship with in the world. In terms of what he does on a global level, I don't know anyone that does that.
Right.
He put electricity in 350 million homes in Africa.
Right.
He's building his own city in Senegal.
And that's gangster.
With his own currency. He
that's
owns
gangster.
Thousands of acres in Senegal. I don't know anyone else. And I know a lot of rich and famous people. Like, this is my job.
Right.
Akon is probably at the top of the list. But what I wanted to mention was, you may not have seen this part of the interview, and a lot of people got all upset and so forth over this, is in an early interview, we talked about the whole Lighting Africa project, and he said how he got $1 billion loan from China to bring all the solar panels to Africa because you just couldn't run power lines. It was going to be just too expensive and it's going to take too much money. So solar panels is how they brought electricity to Africa. And what he said on camera was that no country has done more good for Africa than China.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And China's done more in Africa than anywhere. I don't care. You could say UK, America, Germany, British. I don't care who you call. No one's done more work in China to benefit Africans than the Chinese.
And everyone got upset. Oh, he's just a puppet for China. No, Africa is just trying to rape. China's trying to rape Africa, just like the Europeans, and they're giving a bunch of loans. Like everyone saw a meme and is already like a political scientist, right? But I'm actually speaking to someone who's actually doing it, who's actually meeting with the presidents of this country, who's meeting with Chinese billionaires and so forth. And he said that when it comes to China, they need a market for their products. And things with America aren't going too well.
So they need to build another.
They need to have a market. So their only real options on the caliber, on the level that they operate at, is either India or Africa. So they're focusing on Africa because they need to work with these set of countries in order to grow as a country themselves. He even said that the Chinese look at Africa in terms of like the family structure and the values are very similar to China and how Africa is where China was like 30, 40 years ago. But no one really wanted to hear this. Everyone wanted it's easier to go with the negative dialogue. And I said, well, what about the racist things of Africans getting kicked out of hotel rooms? He goes, well, yes, that did happen. And things like that get sensationalized and pushed. But as a whole, with his experience, as well as like people like Michael Jai White, who's a regular guest here, John Sally, these people who go to China and do business in China on a regular basis, they say they get great treatment in China.
Right.
They say that people are very polite, very respectful. Now, you could also say, yeah, but these are celebrities. So, of course, they're going to treat them like that.
Yeah,
but they said overall, their experience with China was very positive.
Yeah, well, just like, I went live with several Africans and African Americans who lived in China for a certain amount of time.
Oh, okay.
Right. And some people, nobody ever said they were attacked. Nobody ever said that they were like, that they seen like something like crazy in terms, but some people said that, they were like looked down upon, right, sometimes or whatever. And for the most part, everybody said that, everybody just was like, we were good there. Like, we were good there. Some people had different encounters with different Chinese people. You're going to get that. You get that when you walk into the supermarket here. You get that, whatever. So you're going to get that wherever, like if I was to go to somewhere where there were no Asian people or no Chinese people, I would get that too. Like certain people would look at me differently. Somebody would probably get up and like, you would get that type of stuff, right? And it's the same thing. Like people are getting that over there. African Americans and Africans are getting that over there, but it's not to the scale of like, of people, how people are trying to paint it, right? But everything that I heard, they were like, it's good over here, it's clean, it's safe over here. It's like, is we were all right over here. And then what they were saying was that when they saw that it was an American, this is kind of before this whole thing happened between China and America, that's starting to brew up. But before that, they would look at American Chinese as like, oh, you're not African? Okay, then I'm gonna treat you a little differently. Because they're not really looking at the color, they're looking at the affluent, like what status you are. You know what I'm saying? In China, in terms, so they would treat an African differently than they would treat an American African American, yeah. Right? And several people told me that. And yeah, so that's what I saw. But remember, I never been over there, and then I just want to know, like, what's the interactions out there? How is it going on? And I never, and it's horrible that happened in China with the Africans being kicked out of their homes, because who would want to be like, riled, like woken up and riled out and be taken out to some camp or something like that? That's horrible. You know what I mean? But I can't really speak on the relationships out there because I've never been there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can only, and I know things are sensationalized because of what I said last time. There is a war going on between China and America. Mm-hmm. So now all of a sudden, because of all of these tensions that's going on, there's so much sensationalism against China. And that, because of that, it's affecting the people in America. It's affecting Chinese people in America who like me, I'm born and raised. My friend Will right here, born and raised. You know what I'm saying? My mother been here for 40 years. Like, we don't know what the hell is going on out there, right? We don't have anything to do with that. But because of that, we now are being attacked. We now are being like, like more things are going on because people, there's this sensationalism, like this anti-Chinese thing going on right now, right? That's happening, right? So now with that, it puts us in jeopardy. It puts us in the situation. It's like, yo, I'm American, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, my heritage is Chinese. You know what I mean? Like, my people come from China, but I was born and raised here. So now that is another reason for the rally. That is another reason for the rally, for Asian people to come together and more communication be made so that, we all understand and we don't get like rolled over this situation that's going on with our countries. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I can't pick up and go to China. Like, if I was to go to China, right, nobody's going nowhere, right? But even if before this COVID or after this COVID or whatever situation is going on, when I go to China, I would have to get all types of, like as an American to go there, the same way anybody else would. You know what I'm saying? I don't get a special pass to go to China because my eyes are like this or because my skin complexion is like this. No, I'm American. You know what I'm saying?
I recently interviewed MB Nell.
Oh, that's dope. Shout out to MB Nell. We got a song together.
You guys have a song?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's
Gang
what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's Filipino.
Yeah.
Not Chinese like you, but we're Asian nonetheless. And he's a Crip in Stockton. And he talked about a situation where he pulled up to his house with his girlfriend, baby, and parents in the house.
Wow.
And someone pulled up to him and shot up his car 22 times. and how he didn't move after that. How he's still in that same house, still in that same neighborhood.
I've been in that house.
You've been in that house?
Yeah.
Okay. You went out to Stockton?
Yeah.
Okay. When you look at that,
I go everywhere, Vlad.
I got you.
I'm outside, man.
I got you.
All right.
When you look at that situation and you look at his lifestyle, and he's quite a bit younger than you.
Yeah.
You could probably see some of your old self.
Right.
You know, he's gonna stick his chest out and he's gonna wave his rag around and he's gonna talk his shit in his lyrics. And he's, you know, he talks shit about the dudes who shot his car up.
Right.
When you look at that, how do you feel?
I feel like he gotta get the hell out of there. You know what I mean? And that's what I told him. I think that's his goal. That's all of our goals is, you know, to get out of whatever situation that could land us in a worse situation. You know what I'm saying? So him being in the hood like that is like, you know, I think that's why he's working so hard, because he understands that, you know, he eventually he's gonna have to, you know, do some different things, change some different things for, you know, for his family, you know what I'm saying? For his future and his family. So I just look at that and I say, but I think ever since that happened, he's grown a lot too, you know, and I feel like he's still growing. He's young and he's still growing. And I feel like, you know, he got to get up out that house, man.
Yeah, and we talked about this because these were like semi-automatic weapons.
Right.
This wasn't like an Uzi that you just press the button and 22 shots just come out in 2 seconds. Like someone had to be there like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
You ain't got to count
like,
all the way up.
No,
there.
but I'm saying like that's how long someone had to sit there and keep firing a shot
firing.
As neighbors are
And
looking out their window.
Too.
Was that?
Oh, 20, how many shots?
22.
All right.
Like to sit there and risk getting caught for that long of a time, your hatred runs that deep to this person, knowing that like you might go to prison for the rest of your life. You might get the death penalty for doing this. And yet your hatred runs so deep that you're willing to risk all that in order to take this person out.
Right.
Looks like to me, that is an environment that I would not step my foot in.
Right.
At all, ever.
I've been over there. Like I said, I've been to his house. I've been to the neighborhood, and I see how they move. I see how they live. You know what I'm saying?
So he lives in a hot area.
Yeah, hell yeah. Like police is on him. You know, he got ops right down the block, 2 blocks away. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, living like that takes a toll on you. Takes a toll on. And after living like, I've lived like that too before. And after living like that, and then seeing like going to, you know, our, the other day we had a interview with somebody, my guy Kai, and I went to his house on the hill somewhere, and I looked in the balcony and I looked over like you know, that view, and I was like, wow, like, you know what I'm saying, like this is what life is like, you know what I mean, like These are the things that life is about, you know what I'm saying, and living in that space, being constrained to that type of living and life, like it's just. It takes a toll, and you realize how big life is and how you know how different other parts of the world is when you start venturing out and going different places. And I know he's doing that now. So, you know, there's a lot of brothers like that though, man. There's a lot of young brothers out there that just don't really know nothing else but that, right? And their whole life is that, right? And it's sad, you know what I'm saying? And anybody watching this, I encourage y'all to, you know, just step out the box and take a look at different things. And you might be surprised at what you see, you know, what you find.
Well, Bobby Shmurda should be coming home soon.
Bobby Shmurda.
He was supposed to have a hearing by now, but it got pushed back to September something.
Free Bobby, free Rowdy. Yeah. That's the people that we need to. I mean, and I'm not trying to say like, I'm not trying to celebrate this whole gangster thing, right? But what I'm saying is, that's the type of actions that we need to be celebrating, because it's not the action of him doing a crime and him harming people. Not that action, because that's wrong. And he's paying for it. He went to jail. He paid for it, right? Just like anybody else would, right? And he didn't get short time, but just his actions after that, because he knew what he did. He knew that he joined the gang. He knew that he committed crime. He knew that. You know what I'm saying? And he's paying for that.
Mm-hmm.
He went to jail. He paid for it. He didn't run from jail. He didn't kill himself. He's paying for that, right? He paid his time. He did his time. But the actions of him not snitching on Rowdy, or him taking less time and
he took more time, so Rowdy Rebel could get less time.
Right. So him doing that, that's the shit we need to celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Him holding strong, and him making sure that all of his people, we started together, we end together, and nobody's telling, like, that right there. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying the crime is wrong, and all of them are serving their time for it, and they've been punished, right? So I'm not trying to big up the crime. I'm not trying to make the crime. I'm just talking about the actions after it, that they stuck to the what they agreed to do that life. They agreed to be a gang member. They agreed to commit the crime, and they knew that those crimes would come with one day would come with repercussions, and they took those repercussions like men. And as men, when we make decisions, we have to carry out those decisions like men, and not crawl out of it like fucking, like cowards. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if we're strong enough to make a decision to do something, then we should be strong enough for the repercussions and take that. So I think what those men right there did are commendable, and they deserve every opportunity that they are going to get when they come home. And I wish that they would get all the opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I've interviewed him before.
From what I understand, you could have gotten a shorter sentence, but you took a slightly longer one because Rowdy Rebel would have gotten a longer one. So can you explain to me, like, kind of the details of what happened?
So on regular shit, we got the court. They try to offer me some time, and they offer a little more time, so they gonna cut some time off his shit, and that was it. Ain't nothing else to talk about.
We talked about that whole case about how he took extra time.
And free P Gutter, man. Free P Gutter.
P Gutter.
P Gutter is a part of the GS9.
Oh, he is. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that whole crew got hemmed up, and they're a big influence on, like, the Pop Smokes of the world, the 5EO4ins, the Sosa Geeks, all these guys, the Brooklyn Drill movement and so forth. They kind of started with those guys,
right?
And these other guys are now carrying the torch. Rest in peace, Pop Smoke. He had an immense impact on that also. They actually... You
said they're not carrying the torch?
No, they are carrying the torch.
Oh, I was about to say.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, they are carrying the torch.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
They're carrying the torch. I see you had Sosa on here.
I had Sosa Geek
Sosa
on there.
Geek.
You know Sosa?
Shout out to Sosa Geek.
Well,
I hit you up about him.
Yeah, I had 5EO4 also.
Yeah, 5EO. Shout out to 5EO. Shout out to Sosa.
I was supposed to have Pop Smoke.
Shout out to Bino. Shout out to Gino.
Pop Smoke got killed after our last interview. And, I've said this lots of times, but I'll keep saying it. I spoke to him 2 days before. We had an interview scheduled that next week.
Wow.
They arrested 5 guys
that
were connected to that murder. 2 of them, I believe, are underage. So it was a bunch of what sounds like 18 and 17-year-olds. And what it sounds like was just a robbery that turned into a murder.
Right.
A bunch of guys saw Pop Smoke flashing his address in the Hollywood Hills.
Yeah.
They figured out where that was, and they went up in there in the middle of the night and tried to rob him and ended up killing him. They're facing the death penalty. It just seems like such a waste.
Yo, Pop Smoke was different, though. Pop Smoke, he was different. Shout out to 5EO. All of them are doing their thing, but Pop Smoke just... you know what I mean? He had like a different type of... Yeah,
he established that sound.
He had his own sound, and he was it's just the way he was going, he was going to be super big, like super big. Like, you know what I'm saying? I felt like he was going to be big. And if you look at the music that he's put out since then, just the library of work he was working. You know what I'm saying?
That album he put out, shout out to 50 Cent.
That album was fire.
Yeah,
it wasn't like rushed or nothing. It was good.
No, it was a great album.
Right.
And it's just like,
it's sad.
Man, to find out that a group of kids doing an armed robbery took this guy off the planet. And it's just, I don't know, man. I mean, have you done armed robberies in your day? When you go into doing an armed robbery, are you preparing to die in the course of doing that?
No.
That's not a thought?
I mean, I'm
that
not
doesn't go
preparing
into
to
the
die.
equation?
I mean, I don't even look at that. You know what I'm saying? If it happens, it happens. What I look at is like, damn, there's a possibility I might have to kill somebody.
Okay,
You know
but
what
you
I'm
don't
saying?
think of the possibility of you actually dying.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Willie D had this really great passage in one of our interviews, is that he says how most people do not plan things out all the way.
Right. Yeah.
Right? You know, he says, you know, we all know, you know, a group of guys that say, okay, we're going to go to the club tonight, and if someone bumps into us or steps on our shoe or makes us spill our drink, we're going to beat them up.
Right.
But you rarely hear someone say, okay, and after we beat them up, I might get killed. So, you know, tell my sister she could have my car and tell my mom I got some money
Right.
behind my closet. And make sure you don't put too much makeup on me during my funeral, because I don't like makeup on me.
There are dudes that go out there with that mentality like, if somebody get out of line, we're going to click on them, we're going to whoop them. But they don't think about what the other person might do. They only think about what they're going to do. If they thought about what the other person would possibly do to them, before they went out, they'd say something along these lines. All right, look here, Lil Ray. We finna go out to the club, man. You know, we're going to be our usual selves. You know, we're going to do a little drinking or whatever. Anybody get out of line, we're going to ride on there. We're going to whoop them up. You know, we're going to handle our business. And tonight I'm going to get killed, though. This time I'm going to get killed. So what I want you to do is I want you to have my Nike collection. You can have all my Jordans. Let your sister have the car because she got to go to school. You know, I don't want her catching the bus. Tell mom I got some money in the attic, and tell everybody I love them, man. And you know, I'm gonna make one stop before I go out there because I got to go over here to my girl house and I'm gonna kiss my baby and kiss my woman and let them know I love them. And then I'm gonna go over here and get killed. Oh, and I'll bury this the suit I want you to bury me in. Man, to tell them don't be putting too much makeup on me and shit, man, because you know I don't like all that, man. You know, tell that mortuary man, you let them know, man. You know, like you would really plan it all the way out. But they don't plan on what other people could possibly do to them. They only think about what they're gonna do to somebody else.
But you take a pistol out and you go to take something from someone, you have to, at some point, realize that that person may not want to give those belongings to you, and they might be armed themselves.
Right.
And if they have a chance to kill you, they'll probably be quicker to kill you than you are to shoot them.
Right.
Because they're protecting, they're in a defensive mode.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? You know, there was a rumor
but
that
that's why I said that when I was like doing the robberies and stuff like that, I was like, you know, the thought of me having to kill somebody was more prevalent than me dying, because I knew that I wouldn't, you know what I mean? My sole goal is to get out of there. You know what I'm saying? So if you move a certain way, if you reach for something or whatever, then you got to go. Because I know you're going to take me out.
What was the most you ever got from an armed robbery?
Not enough.
Not enough. A couple $1,000 maybe?
Yeah.
If that?
I mean, yeah, definitely in the thousands, you know what I'm saying? But I did shit for dumb shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, but
do you realize, like, at your age, how stupid and how many things could have gone wrong?
You know how many people are sitting in jail right now for like less than $100?
Less than $100.
Less.
Yeah, no, I counted out. Like, for example, let's just say the Pop Smoke murder. Let's just say they got $200,000 worth of jewelry, right? Let's say they got all his chains. They got $200,000 worth of chains. Well, that's all custom jewelry. So if you really want to sell it, you might get half, right? That's $100,000. But now you're dealing with stolen jewelry. So let's cut that number in half again. You know, because you have to find someone that'll take in stolen jewelry.
Yeah, right.
$50,000. 5 guys split 5 ways, $50,000, $10,000. It's an amount of money that is going to have a very small impact on your life.
You can't even run with that money.
Yeah. You can't even go on the run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're shooting a high profile person.
Right.
That
you
everyone
need
knows
money
about.
to go on the run.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've interviewed people that went on the run.
Yeah, you need money.
Saigon went on the run.
Yeah. Shout out to Saigon. Chi
Ali went on the run. It's a shitty ass life.
Yeah.
You went on the run.
Right.
Right. Well, China Mac, always a pleasure when you come in. Congratulations on the rally and starting to really get your social protest on.
Right. So the rallies, we're having one in San Francisco on the 12th. And you can go to @TheyCan'tBurnUsAll to follow what we're doing. If you're interested in being a part of this movement, then you can go hit us up and follow the movement there.
That's what's up. That's
Thank
what's
you.
up. Until next time.
Much love.
Peace.